Hey everyone, so today's lesson is on plotting inequalities, and plotting basically means just to graph, right? So when you have an inequality versus an equation, we talked about this the previous day. An equation, as we discussed, and just go ahead and write this down. When you have an equation such as x equals -3 versus x is less than -3, this is just an example. This is telling you that x equals -3, this is only one solution. So there is no other value that you can place for x that will make the equation that you're using true. And for an inequality, when you have x is less than -3, everything that is less than -3 will make the inequality true. So this has many solutions. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at how do we represent on a graph, on a number line, what the solutions are. This is what the number line is used for. It's used for us just to visually see what the solutions are, where do they start, how far do they go, and so forth. So let's take a look at this graph. I have this graph here. This graph is representing to me the number of solutions that I have and where, from where to what point do they begin, or from where to what point do they start or they end. So if you notice, you have this blue part shaded over here. This blue part simply means that all of these values are solutions. I don't know what the inequality could be, but I know that if you're -3, if you're -4, if you're -5, -6, -7, -8, everything that falls towards the left is a solution. And if you fall towards the right area, because what that means? That means that it's not a solution. So if I were to have an inequality and I were to place -2 in there, then that would mean the inequality would turn out to be false. So what I want to do now is I want to go ahead and take this and write it as an inequality, right? An inequality basically is write my solutions using a symbol to represent it. So first, you want to make sure that you place your variable, and variable because there are many solutions that can be placed in there, so we need some arbitrary number that is going to represent multiple numbers. In this case, you're going to need your symbol, and your symbol is either your less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, and then in this other section, we're going to put our fixed value. In other words, where is the number line starting from? So first, for my variable, the most common variable that we use is x. In this case, I'm going to use x because we're not talking about anything specific. When we start going into word problems, then we start putting in something different. So in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and place, so I'm going to say x, meaning that the solution can be, now let's take a look at the number line. Well, what can it be? All of these values over here, all of these values are the solutions, meaning that that makes them all x. So x has to be, now let me go ahead and write the symbol, because if you notice, the fixed value is -3 because that is where we're starting at. So I'm going to go ahead and also put -3. Well, x has to be what? The solutions have to be what to -3? Well, let's take a look at it. I notice that we're going from -3, and I notice that the circle is also shaded in. And then we go to -4 and -5. All those numbers are less than -3. So then the symbol that I'm going to place is the x has to be less than -3, but wait, it's not just less than, because if you notice, like we said, the circle is shaded in, meaning that, hey, -3 could also be a solution. So that means that you're going to have to put x has to be less than or equal to -3. So less than or equal to -3. Less than or equal to means that -3 is also part of the solutions. So now, let's talk about when do you put less than or equal to, or when do you just put less than? When do you have to put the equal to? So first of all, when you have this type of situation, when you have a closed circle, just like we did right now, when you have a closed circle like we did right now on -3, you're going to put the symbol less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, because this means that the solution is included. If I were having an inequality and if I were to place -3 in place of x, the solution would still be true. The inequality would still be true. Now, you graph an open circle when you have less than or greater than, because inequality is not true. And we're going to go ahead and look at an example right now. Today in your exercises, you're going to have 2 sets of exercise questions, and one of them is going to be just what we did above. Can you write an inequality from a number line? Place your variable first, that we just discussed. Number 1, place your variable. Number 2, give me your fixed value. Where is it starting at? Just like -3. And then lastly, give me your symbol. Look at the circle first. Is it open? Is it closed? If it's closed, it's going to be one of these. If it's open, it's going to be without the equal to, right? And then look at the direction that it's going. Are the values that are shaded less than, or are the values that are shaded greater than? And that is how we graph our symbol. Now, let's take a look at one more example. This time in this example, we're going to graph it ourselves. So in the next example, let's try to look at x is greater than 5. If you notice, here I have my variable, meaning that these are all your solutions. What can make it a solution? Here I have my symbol, and this is my fixed value. That means that the number line is going to have the circle or the dot on 5. Let me start off by drawing a number line first. Just like that. Since I'm at the positive section, I'm going to go ahead and just go ahead and start from 0 maybe. Oops. Let's go ahead and fix this. Okay. This is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. All right, first is first. Got my variable, x. So x, meaning that a number has to be, and then it says 5. So I'm going to go ahead and my fixed value, I'm going to draw a circle. Now we ask ourselves, do I shade it in or do I leave it open? Well, so let's go ahead and take a look at what the previous notes we have. Closed circle is when you have less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. Open circle is when you have less than or greater than. And we have greater than, not equal to. So I'm going to go ahead and shade it in. Oops, actually no, my mistake. My mistake. We do not shade it in, we leave it open. And the reason we leave it open is because it is not equal to. Make sure you leave it open. Okay, now that I have my circle open, the next question is, do you shade to the left or do you shade to the right? Well, here's telling you that x has to be greater than 5. So then let's just say that I started to substitute values, and I would say, ask yourself, well, is 5 greater than 5? And we say, no, that's false. They're equal to each other. You see how then 5 is not included in the solutions? That is why the circle is open, because it's like you saying, I'm going to start here, but don't count 5. 5 is not part of it. So 5, I'm sorry, you're out. You don't make my inequality true, right? So now let's say, okay, x has to be greater than 5. Well, what's next that's greater than 5? Maybe 6. Is 6 greater than 5? Yes. How about 7? For sure. How about 11? Yes. How about 4? Is 4 greater than 5? That's false. So basically everything that falls on this side of 5, on the left side of 5, is not a solution. Everything from the most little parts in there. But everything that falls to the right of 5 is a solution. So basically you're talking about from 6 all the way to like a million, whatever you want to stop at. So that means that when I shade my number line, I'm going to go ahead and shade from this point forward. And I know that it looks a little small because I kind of drew my number line a little weird. So just, you know that 6 is in here, you know that 7, you know that 8's in here, you know that 9, you know that 10 is in here, you know that 11 is in here, and we can go all the way up to 100. This little number line, the little arrows represent that this goes on forever and ever. So as long as you're not 5, but you're greater than 5, then you are a solution. Okay, guys, this was how to graph an inequality. This is the second assignment for today. You're going to get an inequality, and then you're going to have to graph it. Most important thing is just to remember when is it closed and when is it open, and to check if you're going to shade either left or right. Substitute values in just like we did over here, and then ask yourself, if I shade to the right, if it's true, then that's where we shade. If it's false, then you don't shade towards that direction. You always want your inequality to be true. Have a good day.